Hi guys, it's Melissa from Special Ed Law Mom. And I have another video today, again, using Pete Wright's book, Special Education Law. And this is a great book. I'll try to have the link below for Amazon for this and for several other of his books. Especially recommend From Emotions to Advocacy if you want to learn how um, decisions are made and the rules of the game and IEP meetings and all things that are never spoken about are in that book. But today I am on page 307 talking about FERPA, FERPA, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And FERPA specifically deals, I'm just going to read because it's best, with educational records, privacy and confidentiality, parental access to education records, parent amendment of records, and destruction of records. Long story short, FERPA allows you to access your kids' educational records whenever you request them. And there are limits about what an educational record is. Um, so in the book on page 310, it says, for the purpose of this section, the term educational records means files and documents, records, files, documents, and other materials which contain information directly related to a student and are maintained by an educational agency or institution or by a person acting for such agency. It does not include records of instructional, supervisory, and administrative personnel, um, records maintained by a law enforcement unit, um, and it goes on from there. But what I have found it includes is all of their grades, all of their grading records, all of their work, any emails or correspondence about your student, any assessments, evaluations, um, data, any IEPs, any meeting minutes about your student, all of those things. And so, and it gives you the right to inspect and review them. And if you feel that there is something that is not accurate, to request that that be changed. And if they will not change it, you can actually have an informal hearing with the school system to request that they change it, which we all know informal hearings with the school system, it's like the fox watching the hen house. But you do have a right to, if you don't prevail at that, to put your own record into effect with the record to say what you believe should be correct. Um, and it says, personally identifiable information may not be disclosed without written consent of the parent, and personally identifiable information includes but is not limited to the student's name, the name of the student's parent or other family member, the address of the student or their family, something such as a social security number or a student number, a list of personal characteristics that would make the student's identity easily traceable, or other information that would make the student's identity easily traceable. So there is an office that you can write to if you have requested records and been told that they're not available or they don't have to provide them or whatnot. You can write to, and I have found that suddenly things become available. So I will give you a story about that. I've shared it in a previous video. Um, but my oldest, when she was in kindergarten, she's now in college, a long time ago, um, she was struggling with her ears and sensory issues and being in the classroom and not getting overwhelmed. And we had requested a specific program to help with that. It was highly recommended, the listening program, which I plan to do a video on. Um, But of course, because Mrs. Wallace requested it, we're not going to provide it, even though we provide it to other kids in the district and other schools. Funny how that happens. And so they wouldn't provide it. And we ended up getting it through our private speech provider, and it was life changing. But they were providing a program that they had. And so with that, we weren't seeing any improvement. And this was a computer based program. And so I began asking for the data from the computer program because I knew that we weren't seeing any improvement and they wouldn't give it to me. In fact, I was told multiple times that they had tried every way that they could, but they couldn't get it off the computer. It just wouldn't, they couldn't get the data off the computer. And I knew that that was probably not true. And I knew that they knew that it wasn't going to help. The data wasn't going to help support their argument that it was beneficial. And so I wrote the Family Compliance Office. I don't have it in front of me, but if you Google FERPA, it will come up of where you can write the Family Compliance Office. And I wrote them and said, I have education records that are being withheld. Can you help me? Within a week of writing the Family Compliance Office, I got an email from the special ed director that said, wow, we were able to get everything off the computer. And here you go. And I had been told previously they had used their top IT people and they couldn't get it off. They were just really sorry, but it wasn't available. And suddenly they were able to get it off and give it to me. And as expected, it did not show the progress that they wanted to claim. In fact, it showed that she was stagnant. Um, and that's a whole nother issue. And if I remember the video that that's in, I'll put a link down below. But there's a whole story behind that. And did I pursue that? No, I didn't. And the reasons why and all of that. And I don't believe that I've had to go to that extreme since, but there have been times that I've had to say, I need this education record. And I've said it over and over and over and been ignored. And once I have finally said, this is an education record under FERPA, and you are required to provide it to me, I suddenly get it. So it's sad that we have to do that, but that happens. I'm trying to think if there's any other stories. I do know when we were preparing for our due process that I wanted any records that had any reference to my child, our family, anything related to that. And so I requested those, including any emails or um, office memos or anything like that. And of course, I was told that I could come in and review those, but it would be 25 cents a page. And so I told this story on another video that I took my little portable desktop copier and 2 reams of paper and told them I'd be happy to come in and make my own copies. And so I sat in a conference room for probably 5 to 6 hours one day. They paid someone to sit with me, and I went through boxes of documents and copied them myself and found some gems in there. Um, but that was another situation where it was like, no, you can do a search for anything that has our name, my daughter's name, and I want a copy of it. And I don't know that I got everything, but there was sure a lot to go through. So FERPA is another thing that can be pretty powerful. Um, I have not, that I recall, tried to amend a record. I could have recently done that, but that was not the battle that I wanted to have. I have the documentation of the issue and can pursue that differently. So anyway, so that's FERPA in a nutshell. If you have any questions, just let me know. Again, Pete Wright's book, Special Education Law, page 307 and a few pages after that. Great book. Link will be down below. And until next time, make it a great day. Thanks. Bye.